Because of the giants in Silicon Valley, we've been conditioned to believe that tech will continuously get faster, cheaper, and more powerful. Moore's Law. But in medicine, that law is being inverted. I mean, imagine if your iPhone cost double what it did last year, but it ran half as fast. Well, that's actually the real nightmare reality of Big Pharma. They call it Eroom's Law, the evil twin of Moore's Law. By 2030, Big Pharma will hit a $200 billion wall. If they can't flip Eroom's Law by then, the business of saving lives may become too expensive to even attempt for many of them. Now, there is one wildcard that could save this sinking ship, but right now it's difficult to tell whether this is the next wave of technology or another billion-dollar hype investment. In this video, we're gonna look at the 4 forces driving Big Pharma's impending collapse in the United States and what it means for our future if that wildcard cannot right the ship. Okay, no more nautical metaphors, let's dive in. Over the last few decades, Big Pharma has absolutely cashed in on the United States. Those who found, develop, and mass-produce the successful treatment for diseases like cancer or other serious conditions could essentially set whatever price they wanted to in the US. Then, with a team of elite lawyers, they could defend those profits for years, and even expand the list of diseases that their drugs could treat. Look at a drug like Humira. It started as an arthritis treatment, but through patents and expansions, it eventually treated over 12 different conditions and earned the drug company over $200 billion. But that era is ending, and the business of drugs is now a failing business for 4 reasons. Number 4, patent cliffs. Patents have long been used by drug makers to guarantee a monopoly over the medicines that they make. And people are typically of 2 opinions when it comes to drug patents. Some people believe they make sense because these drug companies take massive multi-billion-dollar risks to find a cure for some terrible disease, so they should be rewarded with profits, while others believe that patents put profits over patients. Basically, they block cheaper, generic versions of drugs from hitting the market for decades, making treatments inaccessible for some. But regardless, when a patent does run out, the drug company monopoly ends, and the drug maker faces a sudden, massive drop in revenue called a patent cliff. Pharma companies always deal with patent cliffs. But between 2025 and 2030, there's something that's called a supercliff coming, or a tectonic shift. Major blockbuster drugs like Merck's Keytruda, $29 billion a year, and BMS's Eliquis, $13 billion a year, are hitting a wall at the exact same time. And traditional labs are too slow to replace that $200 billion that's being lost by those drugs that are losing their patents. Number 3, throw money at it. The second reason why the business of drugs is failing is because many of these companies throw money at their problems. Because they were so profitable for so long, they got used to solving every problem with more money. This led to massive, bloated research and development departments and billions of dollars being poured into slow, inefficient processes. When you have that much cash, you don't feel the need to be lean or fast, or so I've been told. Number 2, better than the Beatles. In the early eras of pharmacology, researchers could target low-hanging fruit, so diseases where no treatment really existed. Today, however, any new drug must prove itself superior to existing, highly effective, and often generic standards of care. This is best illustrated through cholesterol-lowering meds. Pfizer's Lipitor became a best-selling drug by convincing the medical community of its superior ability to lower LDL cholesterol, what people call the bad cholesterol. However, once big blockbuster drugs like this one lose patent protection and become available in inexpensive generic drugs, the bar for a new drug becomes prohibitively high. The better than the Beatles problem means clinical trials have to have an enormous amount of people in their clinical studies. To show a 1% incremental improvement over an existing drugs, a trial might need to enroll 20,000 or 30,000 patients to achieve the required p-values. And this has caused the entire industry to abandon primary care markets in favor of rare diseases and high-cost oncology, where a lack of existing Beatles allows for higher pricing power and smaller trials. Number 1, public health errors. The final driver of pharma's collapse is the cautious regulator problem. Basically, regulatory bodies like the FDA have become much more risk-averse in recent years. And there were 2 major events that caused them to become this way. Thalidomide in the 1950s and 60s was a sedative sold to pregnant women for morning sickness. It was never properly tested on pregnant subjects, and it resulted in over 10,000 babies being born with severe limb deformities. That tragedy led to a 1962 amendment being passed, which forced drug companies to prove their drugs were not only safe, but actually effective before they could be sold. And more recently, in 2004, a blockbuster painkiller called Vioxx was linked to tens of thousands of heart attacks and strokes. It led to one of the biggest recalls in history and forced the FDA to shift its focus toward intense, long-term safety monitoring even after a drug is approved. Because of those errors, the safety bar is now incredibly high, which is a good thing. But for pharmaceutical companies that are making these new drugs, you're fighting a regulatory system that's designed to be slow and cautious, and that adds years of delays and millions in cost to every single drug. So with this existential crisis facing Big Pharma in the US, many of these drug companies are looking for lifelines. And one of the top drug companies in the US thinks they found an AI-powered lifeline in Silicon Valley. In early 2026, Eli Lilly, one of America's top drug makers, struck a $1 billion partnership with Nvidia to build an AI-powered drug lab in San Francisco. Their public goal is to get medicines to patients faster and cheaper by using artificial intelligence to shorten traditional drug development cycles. But as history warns us, tech promises in pharma haven't always been that successful. Nevertheless, their plan is to build on Nvidia's 2025 AI factory project, which created one of the world's most powerful AI supercomputers. So this lab lets Eli Lilly train AI models on millions of experiments, testing potential medicines digitally before a single test tube is used. And drug development has always been brutally expensive. In 2014, a new medicine cost $2.6 billion to develop, roughly $3.5 billion in 2025 dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars are spent on treatments that never end up working out. But here's how Nvidia and Eli Lilly are thinking of using AI to tackle this problem. Number one, continuous learning system. So AI agents will work with robotic wet labs and data crunching dry labs running experiments pretty much 24/7. Each result will feed back into the AI, making the next experiment smarter and faster. Number two, test before testing. Using Nvidia's BioNeMo platform, scientists can explore chemical space in silico, so running millions of virtual experiments to weed out failures before they hit the lab. Now, being realistic, like most corporate memos and AI partnerships, this sounds like it's going to fix all of Big Pharma's problems. But this might actually be a case of history imitating itself. Nvidia previously invested $50 million in Recursion Pharmaceuticals, the poster child for AI-driven drug development. A while back, their CEO promised 10 drug approvals a year, which is crazy numbers for pharma. Yet, as of 2025, not a single drug had passed FDA approval. But for Eli Lilly and the rest of Big Pharma, they really can't sit back with their arms crossed. They have to figure out a way to reduce their costs. And I'm sure that they're hoping that this $1 billion partnership helps them save billions in the future. And I know Americans are tired of paying these crazy costs, so hopefully they figure something out. If you found this video interesting and you'd like to see more like it in the future, please consider subscribing for more. This is Tyler Dutchover. Thanks for watching.